Final Fantasy XV's lengthy development was riddled with issues. To say development was a long, arduous process would be an understatement, though eventually the game was released and met with some reception from fans. And now the team behind Final Fantasy XV, now known as Luminous Productions, is working on their brand new title, Forspoken, a game that I'm currently hoping will address some of the criticisms of Final Fantasy XV. Its open world at times being quite bland, its story lacking a cohesive narrative, and these sorts of things. However, it looks like you'll be waiting a little bit longer to play Forspoken to find out if this is actually going to be the case. Originally, the game was slated for May, but now it's been delayed to October, and this could be major as it could impact the release timing of Final Fantasy XVI. But before we get into it, be sure to hit that subscribe button. As we celebrate the channel's 5-year anniversary this month, we're trying to get to 90k by the end of the year. Regarding the delay, the developers had this to say, quote, "We have made the decision to move the release date of Forspoken to October 11th, 2022. Our vision for this exciting new IP is to deliver a game world and hero that gamers across the globe will want to experience for years to come. So getting it right is extremely important to us. To that end, during the next few months, we will focus all of our efforts on polishing the game and can't wait for you to experience Frey's journey this fall. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. We look forward to sharing more about Forspoken with you soon. Luminous Productions." Forspoken does seem to be shaping up to be a decent game so far. However, there is no ignoring that there has been some criticisms of some gameplay footage looking a little rough around the edges. And it's always better to delay a game and put more time into it than it is for you to do whatever the Babylon's Fall is. So I'm glad they're willing to take their time, finish polishing up the game, and make sure that it's something that's truly special. Now, there's the big question of when Final Fantasy XVI will release. As we have frequently discussed on this channel, Square Enix does not like to release major titles right next to each other, not major AAA titles. During the course of Kingdom Hearts 3's development, they wouldn't even talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake. I mean, they barely even acknowledged that the game existed. Now, there were some other reasons for that, such as the dealings with CyberConnect 2, but the even bigger reason, according to Square, was that they simply were not interested in promoting two major titles at the exact same time. If they did, it would have caused Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy VII Remake to cannibalize each other, which obviously is not within their interest. I mean, you don't even want to launch your title next to a big AAA title that someone else is releasing, so then it makes sense that you wouldn't do it to yourself, especially when it comes to dividing up your own fan base. They want to give these titles room to breathe, and for that reason, I don't even think Final Fantasy XVI and Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 will launch within the same fiscal year. If they don't want to release Final Fantasy XVI within the proximity of Forspoken, that means to me there are two possible release windows for the game. This summer, which would be absolutely bonkers, or December of this year to Q1 of next year. Now, it's extremely worth noting that producer Naoki Yoshida has said that he wants a very short window between the next time the game is revealed and the actual release of the game, which, by the way, very smart. I think we're all quite tired of these games being announced way too early, only for there to be no information regarding them for years to come. Instead, I strongly prefer a game being announced 1 to 2 years before it comes out in a steady stream of information, trailers, and other things happening up until that release. Depending on how you look at it, this summer or Q1 next year are both relatively close for a video game to be marketed and released, though summer is just way too good to be true, and trust me, no one would love that more than me. However, I think what's more realistic is Q1 of 2023. Now, your next thought might be, where does this put Final Fantasy VII Remake 2? It could feasibly see a release in Q4 of 2023, which technically would be a different fiscal year for Square Enix, even if it's the same calendar year. Though honestly, Q1 or Q2 of 2024 seems a lot more likely, as I imagine they'd want to give Final Fantasy XVI a lot more breathe room than that. But these are just my thoughts on it. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, and let me know in the comments below what you think about the impact of Forspoken's delay. Shout out to patron Marthcrom and the rest of the Ultima community.